morning, FlossTube. Happy Sunday. It is Chrissy, finally a farm girl, here on FlossTube as well as Instagram and Facebook and now Etsy. I just wanted to welcome you this Sunday, the 13th. It is March 13th. I can't believe that. And this is my FlossTube episode 37. I am just blown away at the incredible support that you have all showered me with on this new adventure with cross-stitch designing. So I wanted to say that first and foremost. It's really seriously, y'all lifted me up. Thank you for the visits to my Etsy shop and the views and the follows and all of those things. They just all add up to hopefully a successful shop. And I am just really so incredibly, I always say blessed, but I think sometimes I want to say baffled at how we all rally around each other, because I know when other cross-stitchers have crossed over into some designing, I know that I've ran over to their Etsy shop and, Mama Loves You GB. I remember her first, 2 patterns, and it's just a special time and exciting time, and it can be, a little bit of a nervous time. So my message today to you all is just thank you for walking this journey with me, and for your orders. It was just such an exciting week, and I have more things that I'm excited to share with you today. But let me take 2 seconds and just go back to anybody who is new to my channel. This channel is primarily about cross-stitch, and every now and then I will share a little bit about other fiber arts. But for the most part, this is my cross-stitch channel. It's where I share my cross-stitching journey, which has evolved over the last several years. And last week took a plunge into designing and releasing some new patterns in an Etsy shop. So welcome if you're new. I hope that you will like and subscribe, and I hope you will be lifted up and encouraged and inspired. I hope for all of those who are returning, and are, just considered friends, I hope that this is just something that today can make you smile. I don't think that this will be one of my longest videos. I did some model stitching this week, so as far as what I did this week, I did watch FlossTube, and I enjoyed mostly watching everybody's return from market this week. So, obviously if you're a new stitcher or just back into stitching, Nashville Needlework Market is just like Christmas for stitchers, and it was fun to see some of the shops. I watched Annabelle's. She's in Florida, West Palm Beach. She has an online shop, an Etsy shop, and I watched her return. And I watched Fox and Rabbit, who did their filming from their hotel room. I've been watching their adventures, and that's always fun to do. But, mostly I just stuck within, really this week, I just had so much fun continuing to bring some of these designs that I did to life. So a recap was that I had introduced you to 2 of my new patterns, and they were Ruby the Rabbit, and I will say that I think she is my top seller out of the 2 that I had at the time. And there was also Santa Bear. But then everybody's response when I shared that there was a witch that I had designed, that I really like her. I have tried to design in a more primitive way, but it's not working for me. I am definitely cutesy poo. Maybe as time goes by, I will develop some of those skills, but for right now, you gotta design what you love and stitch what you love. So I think that it's fun for me, that it's okay that I might design differently than the patterns that I'm also attracted to, because I love these detailed samplers, and I love colonial pieces and primitive pieces, and I know for right now what I'm designing just reflects that cutesy poo-ness that I can't seem to make it go away. So I mentioned my witch, and I got a huge response in that everybody was, they know her name is Beulah. I mentioned that is Randy's grandmother's name, and I just love old names. So it has nothing to do with being a witch. It just has everything to do with the fact that I thought it would be a great name for the witch I designed. So when everybody seemed so interested, I thought, well, I would pull Beulah out of the bigger pattern, which my daughter is model stitching, and I would just stitch her up by herself because I thought it would be cute to have on display anyways. Beulah is gonna, I believe, take a really fun, adventure with me in the designing arena, and I think it'd be cute if she was by herself. So without further ado, one of the first things I did during the week was did a little more learning on the application that I use for designing, and it was fun to be able to cut and paste and pull her out for myself and stitch her all alone. So, and I came up with what I thought was really a cute finish, but this is Beulah. And hopefully I can get her in there close enough. So what I did was I pulled her out, stitched her by herself as she is in another pattern that is being model stitched by my daughter Heather. And in this situation, you can buy her by herself. I went ahead and released her, but I have designed the broom for you, a primitive looking broom that's brought down to a point. But for me, I went to Hobby Lobby, and I have always wanted to just put a real miniature broom in a witch's hand. So what I did was, in the miniature section of Hobby Lobby, they have a 3-pack of brooms, and I picked this one, soaked them in some leftover coffee, snipped the handle. I didn't do anything till the end because I had this oval frame that, although she doesn't fit perfectly and you can't quite see her last shoe, I'm okay with that because I'm probably going to put her in something. So I didn't worry too much about that. So you can see that she has a hidden little friend up on her hat, and she's all DMC, and I love her little spider friend who looks like he's on a yo-yo, and then I just trimmed this up to suit my needs. But again, the pattern went ahead and designed a broom for you that'll be in her hand. So that is Witch Beulah, who's in my Etsy shop right now. She has, let's see here, one little French knot for the wart on her nose. Let's see if I can get her in there closer. Now this is stitched. I stitched her on 32 count. I think it's called Ice. It's in the Etsy shop, it tells you. And it's a very, you can't tell in this, maybe like that, but it's a very light lavender. And so it really depends on, the light you get, because I can't even see it like this here. But she's fun, you can switch her up. She's definitely not a spooky witch. I gave her a couple of red earrings and a little choker necklace. But this is Beulah. Definitely, we will not be scared. However, she's just, I think she's just precious. So anyways, this is Beulah the Witch, and hopefully very soon you will get to start seeing her in her elements. And I had a really good time. So she's available now. At least everybody has met Beulah. Okay, so then I wanted to start, that was kind of like a crash, not a crash, but it was one of those things where it was like, I knew immediately I wanted to go ahead and stitch her myself. So that happened quite quickly. Then I had a start, and I have been waiting to start on the Nottingham sale. And that is a pattern by Kathy Barrick. So besides my model stitching, which it's beautiful, I besides that, the only stitching I've done was for my own 2 models, and I have another one to show you, and a new start of Kathy Barrick's Nottingham. Now, this is one I've shared many, many times. I've been waiting and waiting, and I wanted to get through the last of the trilogy, which I did. So this one is stitched on 32 count Black Swan by Fox and Rabbit. So Kathy Barrick had put up a post sharing this on a darker linen, and it was phenomenal. So I was a little worried. I've not really stitched on dark linen before, but this is a stitch along that I am doing with Fox and Rabbit, and Karen had mentioned trying her Black Swan, and I thought that would be great. So I went ahead and I got my start. And the colors are just really fun. I left it in the hoop because I wanted to get a good few days in. And now normally I stitch in hand. And in this situation, because it was maybe a new linen to me, maybe the fact that I was using my magnifier and I wanted to just make sure that I was getting things in the right place. So I did, for the first time, use one of these hoops that are rubber, like in nature, very flexible. I can turn it any way I want, and it's working out really good. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. They're on Amazon in different sets. I happened to pick these up last year at Hobby Lobby or Joann's, I'm sorry, for like $1, and I just got them thinking I would finish in them. It worked out really well because Q snaps in my wrists, they're just too heavy. So I have had a fabulous time getting going. This is it one more time. I can cover this up. Get a little closer. So that is 32 count Black Swan, and it's not a charcoal, and it's not a black either, so it really has been a joy to stitch on. It is not too dark. These are, hold on one second here. This is housed in my Darlene Dion project bag. I don't know if you follow her. She's one of my favorite FlossTubes. Darlene Dion. The last name is D-E-O-N. She does quilting, and she also has an Etsy shop, and then she does some project bags, and I loved it because it was pieced together. And so these are, let me get this over here for you again. These are the colors. Kind of messy, huh? This is my floss bling from As the Yo Flies. This is Chris from As the Yo Flies. And she makes these really sweet floss drops. And I love this one with the girl and her kitty and the little black chair. So anyways, but real pretty colors. Definitely a different color palette for me. The needle minder was a gift from my friend Jennifer Gordon, and she's the one with Pumpkin, who took our pig Pumpkin to pig. And that kind of leads me to a question I got, and it's been a while. So if you've known me forever, then just keep on stitching. But somebody asked, what's the farm link? And you know, why am I passionate about the farm animals and things like that? Well, you know, the quick version is that both my sister and I had horses when we were in our early teens. It's something we did with my dad. We took lessons. You know, we just had a great time. My grandparents had an 85-acre farm. It was called the Beekman Farm in Davisburg, Michigan, and which was by Clarkston. So once I could drive, I was able to drive my sister and I, and so it was just an incredibly special time in my life. I'll stick to myself. My sister and I had just great sisterly conversations, and growing up in a barn, riding together, trail riding together, 4-H together, being with my dad. I know it just was something my grandfather loved to have, that acreage, and you know, I just think that kind of flowed through. And then you know, life just happens, and, you know, we grow up and we get married and we have kids. And ultimately, when, as time went by and we had discussed, my husband and I, moving and relocating to the country, I knew that if I ever did it, it was going to be where I could have some farm animals. And that led us up to Central Florida, and we rented an actual farmhouse to make sure we liked the area first. And it was just a time in my life where I just saw the Lord work in so many ways, and he opened so many doors. And regardless of whether it was a complete success or not, it was a success in my book, in the sense that, you know, we were able to experience farming in our 50s. Yes, a little later than I like, but a lot of people do it. It's definitely hard work. And we just got to experience so much, and I learned so much. And at the same time, Instagram was growing, and I wanted to make sure that the farm, you know, I got to share those moments, because mostly that's a gallery for my family to go back and look at. So when I needed a name on Instagram, I had asked my husband, and we had just gotten a few chickens. I'm like, I need a name. And so he said, well, you know, why don't you call yourself Finally a Farm Girl, because you're finally a farm girl. So at that point, we had 4 chickens and 4 goats, and I'm sure you're going to get to come to know many of them through my designs, because I love that. I love that I've got some of that going on, and excited to share that with you. But that's how Finally a Farm Girl came into play. And then after a couple years of renting at that farmhouse, we decided to build. The Lord opened doors for us to have 7 acres. It was called Seventh Heaven Farm. And on my 50th birthday, I got a pig, and his name was Pumpkin. And there were many, many, many Pumpkin adventures. He was a coon pig, or some people call them coonies. They are incredibly smart, and they are a great family pet. He was potty trained, raised in the house. And I just, you know, if you ever look up at my stories on Instagram, you know, you can get a good kick out of some of that. We experienced a hurricane on our farm not too long after we got there. So we'll get back to stitching now, but that is kind of where it all comes from. And the hard decision, you know, I've shared that on my journey, and I can share that another time. You know, it came time, Randy was struggling with, we cleared that land ourselves, and so, you know, he was struggling with some shoulder issues. We didn't have tractors, and we experienced so many blessings on that farm, and so many lessons. So that is where it comes from, and I hope that answers some of the questions that the viewer had about, you know, why farm life was something that played a role for me. So anyways, let's get back, and I will share with you the next whip that I did. And that is a design that I wanted to put out. You know, you just, again, you design what you love and what's in your heart, and what you're, I guess, what you're not comfortable doing, but it's kind of just in your genre. And, you know, Christmas is one of those times of the year that I absolutely adore. And I usually light up, and I think it's magical, and so it was very easy for me, because I've always had a specific way that I see my Santas. So this is my latest design, which is Santa's helpers. So you have Santa, and you have his 2 mice helpers, and then he's got his sack, with a real pretty gold S for Santa, of course. And he is, I love a Santa with spectacles. So I needed to make sure that he got some spectacles. And anyways, so again, I used Cupid like I did for Santa Bear, because it's my favorite red. So that is Classic Colorworks Cupid. However, you can very easily use DMC 115 that's stitched on 32 count vintage country mocha. So again, you can probably see a little bit of the modeling. And then I used, for finishing, I had picked this up at Hobby Lobby, and this is just velvety smooth, this yarn. And so it's just a nice medium size, and I was just able to glue it around the edge. I sewed it closed myself. And then I used some black on the back, which is like a hand-dyed black wool. Thought it looked, you know, a little bit like the chimney or smokestack. So right now it's backed with this. I don't know what that is showing right there. Anyways, so, and then I used the peel and stick red velvet, the burgundy, to cover my whip stitch, and I've ordered a couple of charms to hang on the back for that are Christmas related. So, and even though he's charted and has his mitten there, I know you can still get these at your local needlework shops. You can get these at 123 Stitch, but it's just a nice clay candy cane that I wanted to put in his hand down here. So the only specialty stitches that you have on this are, and they're not specialty stitches, are just the long stitches for the whiskers. Everything else is just an actual, and the back stitching for his spectacles. And then I did outline the brim of his hat, but I will be honest, you don't need to. I just don't even think it's necessary. You piece together where it starts and stops. You can see his eyebrows, but I did it in case, you know, I think a lot of people sometimes still like a little bit of that definition. But he's just stitched with the, everything else is DMC. The gold is DMC. Now, it would be really cool if you did want to use the gold Krynic. I think that would be fantastic to give it a little bit of bling right there. But this guy's got a little scarf on. This guy's hanging on to Santa's hat. This is just a lighter green here. All the reds are the same. So he is available right now in my Etsy shop, or I should say the design is, and it's called Santa's Helpers. So I had a really good time. I had a really, really good time with him. So I love the glasses. And I will be honest, I love Santa with a pipe. I love the old things. Do I encourage smoking? No. I'm not a smoker, to each his own, but I love Santa with a pipe. And, you know, I know that there's probably one of those in my future. But this is where I started, and I absolutely love him. And he's got a couple of good mouse friends, and anyways, he's a fun stitch. He's another one like Santa Bear that what's nice is there's this nice full coverage going on, but it's relaxing stitching. It's not hard stitching. So I went ahead and I do a lot of my outlining first. So I outlined the bag and I filled it, got my S in the middle, and then I just sat and watched a show and filled it in. Same thing with coming down with the hat. These are fantastic to just sit and enjoy your time when you need a little break from some of the samplers that a lot of my friends and I stitch. So that was my other one. So there are now officially 4 designs in my shop. And another one is Becca of Sambry Stitches. Here comes my cat. No, Kiwi. She's gonna bump it. Anyways, Becca of Sambry Stitches graciously offered to, she fell in love with one of the designs I did, and she has offered to, you need to get down. Okay. She offered to stitch it up, and it is finished, and she's gonna ship it so I can get it all fully finished and in the shop, and I'm really excited for that one. I think you're gonna like it. So it was fun, really, really fun. It was a fun week, and I know I keep saying that, but that's really what it was. So this week's, one second here, last week's giveaway ended up being the 2 patterns that I released and Oh Dear. So this was last week's giveaway. That, and then this is, let me get it right here for you. This is mine, Ruby Rabbit, and I've seen one finish. Chris Leedy, Chris Cross Stitcher, She has a finish and shared hers. She stitched it from her stash, and I absolutely love that because I do that. That's how I do stuff a lot of the time. And this was the last part of the giveaway, my Santa Bear. So the winner of last week's giveaway was Deanna Ellett, and she said, super cute patterns. I love Ruby. Thank you. Enjoyed seeing your beautiful projects and spending time with you. Thank you for sharing and happy stitching. So, Deanna, congratulations. You are the winner of 3 of these patterns. And if you will just send me your address at finallyafarmgirl@gmail.com, I will get it right into the mail for you. I'm really excited for you. So that is from last week's. This week's giveaway, get this out of the way here. This week's giveaway is going to be, I didn't really have any others, but I wanted to go ahead and just follow suit and give away Witch Beulah. So this is that pattern. And if you are interested, you can just use the word brr. You know what? He has a typo on there. I'm just being authentic here, guys. He spelled one way and I spelled it the other way. And it's his grandma's name. All right, well, let's just go with, I hate to say which. You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. But let's go ahead and let's just say which. And just make sure that you're over 18. Don't use the word giveaway or draw, anything like that, so that we make sure that these giveaways go to actual stitchers. So the word is which. If you will just use it, you don't have to use it in a sentence. Just put it in the comments if you are interested in having my Beulah pattern. Okay, so I'm ready for haul. I'm gonna go ahead and reach back here. I had 2 eBays that I found. The first one was, I've never had Brenda Gervais' Merry Old Soul, so I picked that up, and I really would like to get that stitched up. I think it'd be great this year, but anyways, sorry for the sheen. An oldie but a goodie, but I did not have it, so I was happy to have that to add. And I also came across, this is Lizzie Kate's, and I usually try to add hers. This is the ABCs of Faith. Now, I don't know that I'll use the pink in there, but it was nice because everything came with it. The nice part was that it uses 28 count lambs, whatever. The kit came with 28 count lamb's wool Jobelin, and it came with all the dyed floss. So actually, I got this for a really nice deal, and I absolutely love being able to just pull something out that everything is ready. And I think some of these Lizzie Kates or any designer where it's just the words that I can squeeze in between samplers, I think is a really cute idea. And I love stitching letters. So that was my haul from eBay, and I'm excited to have added to my stash. Now, I did 2 little purchases myself. The first one was from P&B Creations. I noticed another FlossTuber shared, and this is, I thought this was really cute. A little thread holder snowman, so I'll be excited to be able to use this. And they had a little matching needle minder, which now I can put this right on my needle minder holder right there. But anyways, they sent a really cute card, and they have an Etsy shop, and this is Bob and Pam. So Pam and Bob Creations, P&B Creations. I'll go ahead and put that there for you. And I just thought it was really cute. I think her husband, she said, does the actual burning, or I'm not sure how they get that on there, but it's really cute. Really, really cute. So that was that. And I also, I placed an order from Cottage Rose Needle Arts. She had closed her shop down like just a little bit, and she was updating everything. I couldn't wait till she reopened in March. And so the first thing I grabbed was, she had some new floss by Classic Colorworks. This is Little Pink Peony. And I wasn't quite sure if I had a spring, like a spring, I don't know, pattern that I needed it for. I mean, we always need floss, right? So I got two. This is Country Lane, and this is Little Pink Peony. And I thought this looked like a cute bunny rabbit. This looked like some great ears. So I grabbed these. And I also grabbed from her, this is Lady Dot Creates, and I wanted some more of this chenille. So this is vintage chenille, and I've seen this before. And boy, this looks really fun for finishing on anything. So I wanted to grab some of that vintage. And so I gave her shop a little visit, and she also had, I wanted for Ruby, I wanted to get some carrot pins. So let me show you what I did, which I'm sure you can figure out, but I'll fix it in there. But I had ordered from Cottage Rose Needle Arts. I wanted to put some carrot pins in Miss Ruby. Get that off up there. So if you weren't here last week or you didn't see, this is one of my very first patterns, and this is Ruby Rabbit. And so I went and visited Cottage Rose Needle Arts, and I picked up those. So I have one extra one, and who knows when I'll use that. But if you haven't went and visited Cottage Rose Needle Arts, give her a look up, because she's got some really cute stuff. She loves rabbits, and it worked out cute. So then as a gift, she shared with me another one, which I love these big holes. So thank you. And I'm excited to put this to use. So that was from Cottage Rose Needle Arts. And then I really only had one more thing that I wanted to share with you. My plans this week, I just finished Santa Up that I shared with you, and I will get back on. Today is dark 13th stitching, so I will be stitching on Twin Peak Primitives, the Haunted House sampler, Sal, and giving that some love. And then I will jump right back onto my model stitching and give that some love for a couple of days. So anyways, yeah, I probably will focus on my whips this week. And I'm not sure if I'll have any new starts. I'm not sure. I do have one patriotic design that I did that is not huge, that I kind of in love with. So I might, if I need a little small or a break, I'll probably stitch that one up and share it with you next week. But I have something special to show you. And it is my very first sampler. Now, I've shared that I have a vintage sampler, shared that story. Everybody, thank you so much for all the kind comments when my sister and I shared ours side by side. But this is my very first antique redwork sampler, and I love redwork. Now, I left it protected. I'm pretty new at buying any of these. It took a bit to get here. It's not framed, and I do plan on reproducing her, so I picked something that was not huge so that I could learn from it. And I'm really excited. So this is, and I haven't done any research, so I will let you know as I learn, but it is, let me make sure I get my glasses here for you if I can. Sorry for the crinkle. It is Margaret, which I think is, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's kind of a historic way of spelling it, but Margaret Alice Parker. And I wanted one, I had all these little criterias. I will share. So it's red work, but it does have some, it's got green and beige in that little, right here. And it kind of fit all the things that I've shared with y'all that I love so much about these young girls. One of the things was, there's only one spot that's missing any thread, and that's under where it says aged. So the G is starting to come off. But she's 8 years old, and it's from 1861. So the first thing I wanted something from the 1800s. I really wanted it to be in the 1800s, and I wanted it to be someone who was maybe under 10. I wanted a young girl. It blows me away whenever I think about the one that was 4 years old that I, stitched. So I wanted red work. I wanted to be able to have the border not be too much, so that I would be able to reproduce it for y'all. And I wanted the verse, I wanted it to move me. And this is gonna seem strange. But I think as a mother, and many of you who know me will understand. So basically what you've got is, you've got the first row of alphabet and your capital letters. You have numbers. Then you have another section of capital letters that are smaller and not in cursive. The first one's kind of like in cursive. Then you have your lowercase alphabet in green. And then it's really cute because the saying is the verse or the saying that she wrote is what got me. And it says, "Happy the children who are gone to live with Christ and see his face." Now this is where she cut it off a little bit. "Who stand around his glorious throne, redeemed by blood and saved by grace." Okay, now if I show you this over here, this is the part I love. Because I just think this is just classic for kids, that she just didn't care. She didn't care that over here, his face, who's stand around his glorious THRONE, oops, put a parenthesis, stuck it up in there, came back around, and over here, redeemed by blood and saved, by grace. And so she blocked that off. And so I love that whimsical part of these young girls who were, this is how they were learning. This is how they learn their alphabet. This is how they learn their numbers. And they were, I don't want to say expected, but it needed to include something of a religious nature. So to me, that's why I typically, whether it's scripture, verse, I know a lot of people change them. A lot of people, put something that means something to them. And that's why I look for something that did, because it's important for me to know, as a mother of a son with special needs, that if in fact the day comes that Philip were to get sick and pass, what I hold on to is that he will be in a better place, free of everything, with my mother, with my grandfather, with my grandmother, with Christ. He will walk. And yes, he walks, but he has a balanced disability. But he will walk free from all of those things. And that's my belief. And that is what allows me to move through my day-to-day things with Philip, any struggles I have with Philip, is that I know that anything I've needed, God has provided. Because I didn't know how I would make it through some of that stuff. How am I supposed to know what to do? And it has been an amazing journey. And he's going to be 22 years this year. It is one of those things that has been the biggest blessing, but it's also been, it's not been the easiest road. So when I read this, the way I read it is, "Happy the children who are gone to live with Christ and see his face, who stand around his glorious throne, redeemed by his blood and saved by his grace." Okay, all that, what that means to me is that those kids have been given everlasting life, and they are with the one who loves them the most outside of me. And so when I have a scripture or a verse or anything that resembles my vision that has helped me through the last several years, know that when that moment comes, and a lot of us face that's the reality for special needs parent, is you have to know that many of these children do not have a long life, span. So I am very, very blessed that he is with me at 22 years old. However, I am always looking for that peace that gives me peace, that makes me smile, that says it's going to be okay. It will be devastating if it were to happen, but he can walk into the arms, healed from everything. And you have to look at what, to me, if you're gonna, when you are in a role like this, you have to have that positive for the next step, the what if he's not with me. So I don't mean to be a downer. I don't mean to bring light to something that is sad. I want my Philip with me for as long as the Lord will have it. But I needed you to know why that I picked that sampler, because it speaks to me in the sense that, happy are the children who have gone with the Lord. And no, that does not mean I want little children to leave the earth early, not at all. I just want them to know God. I want them to know that, there is someone waiting for them, and there are many children that battle things. And so that was very personal, and I try to stay authentic with you and share. And this is part of my stitching journey. This is something I'm going to cherish, and I want to reproduce, and I want to hang it on my wall, and I want them side by side. And I want to know that when that day comes, I have that to look at. So that's one of those things that, 1 minute I'm talking to you about Santa and all of that, and the next minute I'm talking about my real life, but you put the two together, and that is who Finally a Farm Girl is. So anyways, with that being said, that is really all that I have for you this Sunday. I am just still on such a high. I cannot thank you enough for those that have purchased, who went out and visited the shop, who gave good reviews. Thank you so much for those reviews. I don't know everything about Etsy and what's important and what's not, but I do know that a review is an important piece of your growth on Etsy. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope that you love Beulah. I hope that you will go out and visit and make a Beulah for yourself. And don't forget the giveaway. Use the word witch. Happy stitching. I am going to go run. I have not ran. My sister got her medal. I had diverted here, but that's okay. But I need to go run. We had rain. We had terrible lightning in Ocala, and that is where Stitchy Linda lives. And I know she had a rough day yesterday. So, she was not affected by the tornado. However, it was around her. But we are safe. Linda is safe. It just, we live in, I believe it's called the lightning capital of the world. And so the weather changed, and we dropped in temperature, and so a tornado had went through. So, again, we're all good, but anything can change, at a minute. So start the starts, stitch what you love. I'm going to design what I love, which doesn't always reflect what I stitch, but I'm going to get there. And I just am so thankful to have friends. And you know what? This was the first time in a long time that I was on a high, and at the same time, I really started missing my mom. I've come a long way with that. I don't cry anymore, or at least I haven't in a while, but I really would have loved for her to have seen this happen in my life. And I know she did. And that's what I wanted to say. I know that I have you, and I have my mom up above and my grandma up above cheering me on. And I just can't thank you enough. I had one person blow me away and say that, whether kidding aside or whether it was the sweetest thing ever. I mentioned something about her Brenda Gervais. She was stitching her Brenda Gervais Easter stitches, the bowl fillers. And I was like, those are fantastic. And she goes, well, you're on your way to being the next Brenda. And I was like, what? So regardless of whether I do or don't, oh my gosh, that makes a girl feel really, really good, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go, I'm gonna run. I need to hit 8 miles. And I absolutely love y'all. I do. And so thank you. Santa's waiting for you. Beulah's waiting for you. And don't forget to floss. Bye, guys.